Shooters ready. Stand by.
What's good, y'all? I'm Tyler Harris, and this is T3R Guns. Welcome back if you are coming back. Welcome if you're welcoming for your first time. Like, subscribe, all the good things. Comment, share. Yes, thank you. Alright, now that we got past all of that, you know how we do it around here. Community, not cloud. We are here to talk about one of my favorite places that I shoot at today. Lately, there have been some stirrings about us civilians doing our thing, but I'm gonna just do it this way. So the reason why we do what we do and where we go to the places that we go to shoot is because we want to get quality training. We want to make sure that we're focused and honed in on the skills that we have. I'm an EDC, not necessarily expert, but it's what I focus on. That's gonna be fun. We'll see if I edit that out. I'm an EDC not expert. That's kind of connoisseur. EDC aficionado, I don't know how to put it. I just care more about my EDC setup and pistol shooting than anything. I'll pick up a carbine and I'm getting pretty good with those. I don't have a setup to carry around my carbine as efficiently every day. I can, especially on road trips and things like that. But at the end of the day, I focus on what I carry and what I use a lot. So with that, I focus on my EDC. And I focus on my competition gun, which I do have holsters for to carry EDC if I want to as well. And I do interchange it sometimes. That's basically the same grip and setup, but that's, like I said, another episode. We'll get into that. So, like we talked about last time, the reason why you're here, you want to learn more about guns, where to go and get your knowledge on that. You want to learn more about football, and then you want to learn more about life. Today we're going to focus more on guns, obviously talking about the range, but we're going to start tying in some football aspects. And other episodes, or as you guys request items, we'll talk about specific football things. We'll kind of hone in on that subject too, but we're going to get this thing started with guns because that's what I'm doing right now and that's what I'm really into. So moving past that, always know that that's why it's called Gridiron Guns. Like I said in the first episode, I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for football. So the place where I love to shoot is called Secure American Now Foundation. It's out in Seguin, Texas, right off of I-10, and it is, I don't know how many acres of God's blessing. I say that because it's a range with big boy rules. At the end of the day, when I go on that range, I'm my own RSO. The way I do it is most senior person or most senior shooter with me at that range that day is a head RSO, but we're all essentially range safety officers at the end of the day because we want to make sure that everything's going safe, is clear when we're moving around. You can even ask my buddies, like when I like to shoot on the range, I like us to be clear for the most part, just like you would be in a competition or a match, not walking around with a round in the chamber or a mag in the gun. Now with that, the reason why I'm pushing safety and these big boy rules is because as I get into this range, you're gonna see that it's very free and it's very open, but with great power comes great responsibility. Shout out to Spider-Man, RIP Uncle. Now, there are 5 bays over at Secure America Now, and each bay has its own like little covered pavilion area, and it's really cool because it's a few benches, like little park benches set up, the ones you see at Costco, and then you also have the actual med kit center that's sitting there. It's like a little ammo box or just kind of just a metal box with obviously a medical symbol on your little cross, but all of your medical gear in there and kit. And you have a trash can. There are sheds placed between each actual bay that have targets when you're talking about paper, cardboard, and steel that's actually out there. The paper are the Paraclete targets that Slick has out there. The actual cardboard are full-size IPSC targets, which are really nice whenever you're really trying to hone in and see where your hits are between carbine and pistol. But you can see how you have different ways to train, and at the end of the day, everybody loves shooting still. So, I changed shirts. I live in Texas, and it's hot, and I'm doing this in my shed, so bear with me. Now, we're going to work into the bays and talk about those. There's 5 different bays, and then also a 360 bay and a little still competition bay in the back. The first bay, you have a bunch of still and a 6-foot man. It's really good for EDC training and bringing first-time shooters out, so that way you can kind of train people up on that. I'll get into more about the bringing people in training later. And I'll run into some clips right quick of me shooting during transitions in Bay 1. And we're back. Now, I was shooting at some of the smaller IPSC targets, and then there's a small, like, little 5-inch target that I was putting in between, so I shoot that on the draw and then shoot my turn just transitions on either side, or as I'm moving, I'm hitting the actual IPSCs. Bays 2 and 3 are also 50 yards, but they're carbine involved as well. You have a car on one and barrels on the other, so there's different ways you can set that up if you're talking about working through cars and being a little bit more dynamic, or put the barrels up, put some barricades up, and let's kind of run a IPSC or USPSA training session. And it allows you that freedom, so that way at any given time there can be different people working in those bays and they're safe because you have berms coming all the way in and back that entire 50 yards. And moving on to Bay 4 is probably my favorite one. You can see I was here to talk about it. It's because it's 100 yards long. This is gridiron guns, and you know I play football, so with that, I looked at 100 yards a lot different than I do now, so it's cool to be able to look at it as far as MOAs versus downs or plays, right? So when you're talking about this range, there's a bunch of VTACs set up, so you're about, when you start off at the 100-yard line, you got some small low covers that you have to work under, really unconventional, and then also you're prone, and then you go up to about 75 and you have 2 VTACs. You go about to 60 or 50-ish and you have a little barrier, kind of, it's a big square barrier to work on your edges at distance, and then another VTAC sitting at about 20 to 25. I'd have to go back out and verify. We move stuff around a lot. And then there's a bunch of sandbags up at the front, so that way you can put down different targets to kind of make it the dynamic as you're working through. One thing I like about that range is whenever you're doing those long distance shooting on still and working your way in, you can communicate, and you'll see that in some of the videos later as I'm running with Mel and Twilly on that. We're shouting before we move because first off, safety. You want to make sure I know my guy's good. I'm not flashing him or doing anything like that, but when things happen, you need to communicate and work on that. Lucas from T-Rex Arms talks about that a good bit. And there's a bunch of other people. I kind of focused on this more so through Mel and Blue when we were at survival games. And I'll do another video on survival games. That is a whole nother intricate thing. Blue was fussing at us because we're working on applying a tourniquet, which you'll see a picture of later. And we're really worrying about, hey, I need to still be working while he's putting his tourniquet on my leg, and I need to be communicating to him, hey, I'm working, and he needs to tell me, hey, I'm doing this with the tourniquet, just like when we're running, hey, I'm about to move, or hey, I'm reloading. You get what I'm saying? Bring it to football, plays communication before the down audibles. It's all coming together, right? So when you move to Bay 5 is my second favorite bay. See, I'm doing that thing from the guy from Shrek. Number 3, my lord, number 3. I hope I can put that on YouTube and they don't mess me up. Anyway, that'd be kind of funny. So, Bay 5 has a bunch of cars in it, a bunch of taxis. I think you guys have deemed it the taxi cemetery or taxi apocalypse. And I appreciate that. That's a really cool name. So this has a bunch of cars set up kind of like you're on the highway in a wreck, different situations. So you can work on using cover in different places and knowing where to use cover on a car when you're actually shooting through it or around it, and knowing that difference, like, hey, when I'm in a car, there's gonna be a little bit more concussion when I'm shooting because I'm in an enclosed space, and really knowing your line so you're not hitting the car, things like that. And at the end of this bay, there's a bunch of steel as well, and if you notice, there's steel all over this range, and that's the really cool part about it. On bay 1, I don't know if I mentioned it, AR 500 steel has a 6-foot man target, and it is awesome. Take me, chop me down 4 inches, and it's essentially what you have. It's really good for EDC when you were talking about really figuring out where your hits are in a certain situation and if it's a viable hit. Obviously, you want alphas if you're talking about precision, but to build confidence, it's great when training. And I've kind of witnessed that with different people. I haven't trained personally myself. I'm still working on it. I'm getting really close to being NRA certified. But that's just a really nice piece to have out there. Bay 5 is also cool because that same carbine that you're working around the cars with or you've been using all day, you can go lay down at 400 and prone or even use cover and stretch your rifle out. Now there's barricades at like 1, 2, and 300 yards, so you know, and you can work on your adjustments then. But at the same token, like I just said, you can test that same rifle setup or whatever it is that you want to test on steel at whatever distance and really know, hey, this is how I'm hitting, this is where my holes are, and this is where I'm moving, and really be able to apply that later on. You never know if you're just wanting to show off, you're hunting, or Lord knows what might happen. Pray it doesn't get to that point, but I pray no one's ever in that situation. Lastly, there's a 360 bay and the Texas Star kind of steel competition in the back behind the 360 bay. 360 bay is really cool because it speaks for itself. It's 360 as far as a range. I know Slick's working on getting a shoot house in there. Any donations that can be sent to Secure America Now Foundation, there's a donation link on that page, would significantly help that, because he wants it warranted and taken care of, so that way at the end of the day we know we're safe going in, because like we said, big boy rules, you got to have that responsibility, and if we got a shoot house, we got to do it right. Secondly, there's also a classroom aspect that's going to go up. I'll let you guys reach out to Slick more about that and learning more about that. But there's, as you can see, a lot going on with this range. The Texas Star competition is pretty cool because it's in the back, and there is a range set time. I do not know it. I'll put it in the description if I find it and tag whoever's leading right now, but I'm trying to go beat it because I want to beat them, and I'm competitive, and I like beating people at things because I'm a competitor. It's all healthy because we just want to make each other better, but you know how it goes. So,
just wanted to take the camera off my ugly face for a little bit and put it on Sean here, aka Slick Thornton. He is the owner of Secure America Now and Paraclete Consulting. You can think of Paraclete Consulting as a backbone behind Secure, and the brainstem whenever it comes to all of the thinking, because those guys provide the training and consulting that everyone needs at the range to use it to its fullest ability. There are a myriad of other things that Slick does as well within Paraclete Consulting, such as security and special activities, which sound fun, but that's for him to talk to you about. And as far as their training, they do have open range days, ladies open range days. Those are both once a month, if not every other month for the most part, weather permitting. You also have pistol classes and carbine classes. The survival games, which we'll do another video on later. I'll probably do another one of the next survival games that I attend, because we didn't get as much shooting video as I'd like to show you guys, and I don't want to have you bored listening to me, right? Also, there's first responder games. I'm going to try to volunteer for that for sure. In regards to that, I'm not a first responder, but I'm always happy to help those guys. It'll be cool to just be out there and watch those guys through the same torture that I've been through. So it's always fun. And just kind of moving on with that, I want to highlight Kit and Beef as well. You'll see them in the background here. Davin, I'm not sure he's in any of these pictures, but he is also a part of Paraclete Consulting as an assistant instructor. You also see BLU Scorpion in here, and also Jeremy and Weston from T3R Medical. Those guys are out at survival games. Awesome groups. I'm going to list everybody below, and these are local guys here in San Antonio, if you are around here, that you should get with and get some knowledge from.
So lastly, I want to talk about training with purpose, and the key thing behind that is just having intent, keeping it back on that responsibility piece that we talked about in the beginning, excuse me. When you're talking about getting out there, I personally make sure every bullet I'm sending down range, not only do I know its intended target and what's behind it, but I know the purpose behind why I'm sending that sending that bullet down range to set target. And for me, that's often the training that I do and the people I work with. I mentioned Paraclete because they're the guys behind this, and Slick, the owner, is an amazing instructor. You'll see here in a second, the day that I learned to cut down 0.2 seconds off of my draw, Slick worked with me in a tropical storm, and on that same day I actually won my red belt qualification with Paraclete Consulting, which there's only 7 of us in the world. And Slick has ran this thing with a lot of people, and a lot of people have tried it, and there's a lot of different tiers and stages, and people are at different levels. And if you're anywhere on this fast test, as it's called, anywhere in those tiered qualifications, you're working the right way and doing the right things. And Slick's main things that he's preaching behind that actual fast test and that red belt qualification that I achieved, it highlights what you need to work on as far as, do I need to work on reloads? Do I need to work on my draw? Do I need to work on my recoil management and follow-ups? Do I need to work on my failures as far as transitioning with my tap rack? Do I need to work on my Mozambique whenever I'm transitioning to that head? Do I know my holdover? Because you're running through about 78 rounds, and I can't even remember how many drills it is, but I actually have it listed up on the side, and I dry fire through it pretty often because that's my standard. That's the reason why I got to red belt qualification. Now you'll also see in the next few clips those series of me reaching that 104 and confirming it and hitting a 106. Hitting 108, also hit 106 and a couple other low times off camera. But I just wanted to put that on to show you guys, like, hey, this is where I was at, and now I'm really honing in and implementing and getting comfortable with something someone showed me, and this is what it can do. So you'll enjoy that.
Slowly pick up the dot, soft squeeze. Yeah. Good. Come back to 3. Again. On you. Yeah. Again. Yeah. The drill works. The drill works.
113. 104.
First, I want to talk about safety. Make sure that we're always being safe on the range and always being responsible. Like I mentioned, you want to make sure not only do I know what my intended target is and what's behind it, but why are you sending that round down range? Like, why are you going out there and I'm just going to do some one-on-ones and draws? Why? Are you trying to improve your time? Are you trying to reduce movement? Are you trying to actually analyze? Do you have someone there with you? Are you videoing yourself to analyze? And we need to start thinking about all these things as we shoot so we can become more responsible shooters. But that's also why you're here. That's also why I'm doing Gridiron Guns, to be able to tell you guys these things and then point you in the right direction as far as, okay, well, cool, Tyler, now that I'm thinking like that, well, what do I need to do? Go watch Lucas. Go talk to BLU Scorpion. Go watch Paraclete. They have their own YouTube. I'm going to tag that in there. I can name 5 million different people in different videos. It's just a matter of if you want to go research that, because a lot of what I've learned came from YouTube. It came from different streams of content, Instagram, that I saw videos, and then from that actual inspiration and learning, oh, this is how I do that, and learning the mechanics and the details behind it, I take that, I go to Slick, and I say, hey, Slick, I realize this, and that. What does it mean? How can I apply it? And he teaches me. Because you can watch videos all day, but if you don't go out and get instruction, you're not going to apply it. And we can get into a whole bunch of different similarities as far as where that applies. Having something called work and having something called, like, hope, faith, believing in something, and not applying them and putting them together. That's kind of an episode we'll get on later as far as faith and applying that work and putting it together, but this is a prime example. And that's why we're here, right? To get better, to become better. So I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna let you guys enjoy some shooting. It was great having you back. Thank you for coming back and spending this time with me. If you have any suggestions or anything that I can improve on, definitely let me know. That's why I'm doing this, because I want to be here for you guys. Doing this off my iPhone, so I plan on getting better equipment as we go, but also showing anybody can do this, right? Bring it back. You already know what it is. Community, not cloud. #DoWeek. But that's why we're doing this. That's why we're here. Hope you guys enjoy the shooting. I'll talk to you in a little bit. hope you enjoyed me and my buddies busting off a few rounds. I want to touch on a few pieces before we get out of here. Leta, Kathryn Photography, I'll tag her in the description. She does a lot of awesome work. A lot of pictures you saw from survival games that I put in this video, she did, so I want to make sure she gets credit for that. And go to her page. She does a lot of stuff, weddings all the way to shooting. It's really awesome, so please work with her. PROVECTUS, he will be out there as well, Ken Scott. That'll be 6/19 for the class. Go to my Instagram, I'll put a post up about it. DM me, email me, however you can get in contact with me, do it if you have any questions. Please come to this class, make sure you have a solid pistol proficiency. You've at least been through a basic pistol course or something along those lines before trying to attend this class, because we are talking about, I can't even remember the round count. I want to say it's 300 to 400 rounds when you're talking about really putting those down range. I think it is 300 when you're talking about really being serious and putting those down range efficiently. So that's some serious learning, and it's a full day. Next, I want to talk about SANTex. This is going to be this weekend. I'm trying to get this video out, like I said, for you guys before that. Just that kind of last, dude, if you're not signed up, sign up. And if you don't want to shoot, just come out and watch, because there's going to be a lot of great people out there, first off. It's not more so about, the shooting is obviously why we're there, but the community that'll be built within this, getting people down from Dallas and all over Texas, just getting people out who are just there to watch and, oh, well, what do you guys do? I can do that, and kind of learn and connect is the biggest piece behind this. So you guys definitely come out to that, and I'll put more descriptions on that. And at the end of the day, there's gonna be Cajun food for lunch, so you should be there anyway. I mean, I'm in Louisiana, you know, I get the Cajun food, I like it. So that is all. Thank you for hanging in here with me. If you're still watching, please like and subscribe. Share this video to your friends. Let's start boosting this out and pushing it out, man. I don't really care about who sticks around. I just care that the people who are here are getting something that they want. So at the end of the day, I thank you for taking this time to be with me, and I'll see y'all later. Good out.